Joining me live on this broadcast is SK Dutta, who's a political analyst, and Shantanu Gupta, author and political analyst. Going across to Shantanu Gupta. For Shantanu, apart from the political battle and legacy battle that is currently underway in the state of West Bengal, help us understand the importance of Subhash Chandra Bose, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose in our history as well. Because remember, he has played a very important role in our freedom struggle, and at the same time, there was a very abrupt end to his life, and we are still waiting for that to be disclosed. But at the same time, help us understand the importance of Netaji in our history.
I think that's a very interesting question. That what we study in our textbook, the books around, they don't represent the personality of Netaji as it should be. As I was telling before the break, that how the left historians, the Congress-led historians, all made sure that Nehru's personality, and the only Nehru's personality, should be projected. And Lal Bahadur Shastri, Patel, Ambedkar, Savarkar, Shyam Prasad Mukherjee, and Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, we don't read about them so much. And I think today is the momentous event that finally, I think we are celebrating it like a momentous day, Parakram Diwas, as Vijay Varghese was saying. It's such a good name, which goes with his personality, right? And in fact, a lot of historians mention to the level that one side Mahatma Gandhi's movement was going on, but another side, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, his army gave a huge pressure. So though both the movements have an equal contribution in India's freedom, and we don't read it in our text, we don't read it in popular books. Many historians, Anuj Dhar and many others, have done phenomenal work, and thanks to Narendra Modi government, and 2015 onwards, we are getting the declassified file online available. You just go to the website, you can see each and every file, and you get goosebumps that how this person single-handedly created this army. And when you read the records of the Bose brothers, what they were talking about, Veer Savarkar, it seems Veer Savarkar and Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose were working in good tandem. And for some reason, this history doesn't travel to our books. I think now is the time that I think those wrongs in the history is getting corrected, and the true history of sons of the soil, the real sons of the soil, is coming to fore.
Yeah.
All right, going back to our guest now, SK Dutta, who's a political analyst, and Shantanu, who continues to stay with us. SK Dutta, to you now. Away from the public events and the high-voltage election rallies that we have witnessed in West Bengal, the battle for Bengal now also includes the legacy of the iconic freedom fighter Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, with the ruling TMC and the opposition BJP in a way trying to squabble over who can they call, and trying to own up the 125th birth anniversary. Help us understand, why is this happening at this juncture, and what will this really impact the upcoming election?
Well, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, together with Khudiram Bose, Rabindranath Tagore ji, Swami Vivekananda, they are very, very sentimental, iconic figures in Bengal. And even today, the youths of Bengal, they get a lot of inspiration from the legacy of Subhash Chandra Bose as such. So it was quite obvious that in the election year, there would be a kind of a cutthroat competition between BJP as well as TMC on the legacy of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. And I take this in a healthy way, in a healthy spirit, because at least in this kind of a cutthroat kind of a competition, you need to compete with each other. Several untold stories of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose would come up as such, you know. How many of us actually know that there was such a lovely correlation and such a lovely relation between Mahatma Gandhi and Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose? I mean, I still remember the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, always used to say that Patel is my brother, Subhash is my rebellious son, and Nehru is my obedient son as such. And it was Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose who had given the title of father of the nation to Mahatma Gandhiji, and Mahatma Gandhiji had reciprocated by giving the title of Netaji to Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, you know. So these kind of things has to come out in the public domain as such. I was listening to the Honorable Minister Minister in relation to the classified documents and the classified files. Yes, there are many classified documents which are there in the London archives, in Copenhagen, as well as in Prague, then in Helsinki, Moscow, Beijing, Taipei, as well as in Tokyo, and in Singapore, which needs to be out and which needs to be declassified. Actually, the whole mystery lies to a great extent in the London archives as such, which is yet to be declassified as such. I would request the government of India and the Honorable Prime Minister to take up this case and with all those respective governments so that the actual truth could come out. And secondly, since the Honorable Prime Minister is there in Victoria Memorial today, I would request through your channel to the Honorable Prime Minister that he should rename Victoria Memorial as Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Memorial.
Absolutely. Thanking both our guests for joining us at this point. All eyes on the Prime Minister, who will be reaching anytime now to Kolkata as well to celebrate the indomitable spirit and selfless service of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose on his 125th birth anniversary.